This video is sponsored by no one. Guys, if you are an E4 player, you really need to hear this about the Sicilian Defense. The Sicilian Defense is every E4 player's worst nightmare. Take for instance a Sicilian expert and an E4 expert. The Sicilian expert will always be more prepared than the E4 player. Therefore, I'm here to give you something new to try out against the Sicilian Defense, and you're going to love it. So let's begin. E4 C5. What's the move? Bishop C4. Now hey, yo, wait a second. I know most of you will be like, we know that's the Bowdler Attack and it's not good enough against the Sicilian Defense. But I want to prove you wrong, guys. This won't be the typical Bowdler Attack that you know. E6, then you go knight C3, knight C6, D3 and all sorts of things. No, I want to show you a different approach that I use to beat 2400s. So basically what I'm showing you guys is a different strategy. The top played move that you're going to see is pawn to E6, and this is why we divert a little bit. Instead of playing the usual knight C3 which many white players play, I recommend queen E2, guys. I don't know how many times you're going to see most of your opponents, especially in blitz and bullet matches, blitzing out pawn to D5. This is a blunder because you can just take that free pawn, and now you know why our queen needs to sit on E2 first before developing any other moves. So whether you're playing this in blitz, bullet, or even in a classic or tournament match, you should go on to win this game. So now that we have seen how bad pawn to D5 is, you're going to see most of your opponents playing knight to C6. Whenever you see knight c6, just know that black wants to play knight d4 given a chance. And that's why you want to play knight to f3, stopping this move. Every move that you play is a developing move and also an attacking move, which is why I like this so much. From here, black is going to play s6, the top played move in the Lichess database, because they want to play pawn to b5 next. That's why you need to play pawn to f4. You can see how the moves are flowing. Chess is playing itself already. So f4 stops pawn to b5, ladies and gentlemen, because if this happens, you're just gonna take and maybe win the free rook. So from here, you're going to see knight to f6 by black, which is the top played move again in the Lichess database. And so whenever you see this, just remember to go pawn to e5. You better do it first before black plays pawn to d5 or something else. This gains a lot of space and you're going to see how that works. The top played move is knight d5. Once again, you can see with your own eyeballs, but whenever you see this again, you can just go ahead and mess up black's pawn structure. See these doubled pawns on the center? This is not good for black. So once again, you're going to develop your minor piece while attacking something on d5. Pretty much simple stuff. You're going to see most of your opponents playing pawn to d4, which is the top played move once again. And at the same time, it turns out to be a mistake because it allows your knight to sit on a juicy e4 square. Next, you want to plant your knight on d6 with check. This is not going to be the Sicilian defense that black players love to play. For example, if black plays bishop e7, the top played move, you can just go knight d6 check and black will be forced to move his king. I'll probably just take your knight, which is not even good. And this is when you castle shot. Imagine you are playing this in a real OTB tournament, guys. First of all, black doesn't have space. They can't even develop their light squad bishop normally. And if they play something like queen e8, well, your queen is more powerful than your opponent's queen. So you can just avoid the trade. Once again, if they try to force it, for some reason, you can just take the free pawn. This is a very simple strategy, guys. But anyways, let's say if black plays queen f6 instead of queen e8, you can just develop your rook. The idea is very simple: to checkmate on e8. If queen e6, which also aims at capturing the pawn, well, the best you can do here is pawn to d3. Don't let them take your d pawn. If they exchange queens, just take it. They still have no space from the queen side and their position is cramped. You are ahead in development. They may play f6 and then you go bishop f4. You are in control of the game. King f7, rook a e1. Look at this. So this is one example of how the game can go. Now let me show you the whole game plan that you're going to be following from time to time. So obviously you're going to be starting with e4, then black responds with whatever, c5. You go bishop c4, targeting the weak f7 pawn. If black makes a move, something like pawn to e6, you simply develop your queen on the third move instead of developing any of your knights or pawns or the g3 pawn or whatever. This combination of moves automatically stops pawn to d5 by black, and after any move by black, probably knight c6 by this time, this is when you want to play knight f3, stopping knight d4, just like I said. A random move by black, this is when you go knight c3, over controlling the d5 square. A random move once again, this is when you want to play pawn to e5. Remember, you want your knight to sit on the juicy e4 square someday, and there are two ways of doing that. One is by going knight d4 directly, or relocating your knight this way up to the e4 square. Anyway, you can still go d3, and after something like s6, you know they want to go pawn to b5 next, chasing your last squared bishop, so you want to stop that with pawn to a4, over controlling the b5 square. A random move by black, this is when you can, choose between moves. Sometimes you can also consider to play pawn to g4, and you're going to see an example of that. One thing you don't ever want to do is to put your dark squared bishop on d2, because in case your queen's knight is attacked, this is where you want to plant that knight. For example, bishop e3, and after a random move you go e5. You don't have to memorize the sequence of moves, just know the strategies and chess will be playing itself. Let me show you the last line in our simple strategy, and let me know in the comment section how this will go for you. So once again, you begin with e4, then black responds c5. What else can they do? You go bishop c4. By the way, if they play knight c6 on the second move instead of pawn to e6, you don't want to go queen e2 first, because black may attack you, right? So you want to respond at least with something like knight to f3, stopping knight d4, because if that happens, you're gonna take. And this is when you will see them playing pawn to e6, and now you are cool to go queen e2. So history may repeat itself once again and you have no problems. Anyway, let's see what black can do. Instead of all this, after bishop c4, targeting the weak f7 pawn, they will still play pawn to e6. Remember to go queen e2, and after knight c6, you know the target, so you want to stop that. s6 may come once again. You know the target, so you want to stop that. And it was in this position where we saw what to do if black plays knight to f6. So this is the main position that you are going to be seeing from time to time. Instead of knight to f6, where you go pawn to e5 immediately, black may also play knight g e7, empowering the d5 pawn push next indirectly. Well, you still go knight c3, stopping this. I mean, if this happens, you can just take that free pawn. How is that free? Because if they take either with the pawn or the knight, I mean, like this would just be a free piece, okay? Bam, bam. So that's how the game goes. But what if black plays pawn to g6, maybe trying to develop his bishop this way? This is the position that you're going to be seeing, guys, from time to time. Again, whenever you have a chance to expand on the center, do it. Pawn to e5 should be the fifth move you want to think about, creating room for knight e4 and knight d6 in the near future. If bishop g7, guess the move that you're supposed to play in this position. Yep, still knight e4, and it looks like you have given up this pawn, right? Because it's attacked twice. Let them take whichever piece they take with. Just know this is a blunder, because now you can simply go knight d6 check, and they are going to lose a free piece on the next move. What if they take back with the bishop instead of the knight? For example, bishop takes e5. Again, this is just a free piece. This time you don't want to go knight d6 check because your knight will be taken, so you want to start with knight takes e5, and after knight takes, this is when you go knight d6 check, and on the next move you're going to win the free knight once again. So obviously black is not going to take back on e5 with a knight. They're going to do something like d5, after which you go knight f6 check this time, and Black's king cannot escape from Sobibor. They have to go to f8, after which you simply go pawn to d4 or d3, by the way, intending to mate on h6. For example, if they foolishly take your d4 pawn like this will be mate. Look at this. Guys, this is a different way of playing against the Sicilian defense, and trust me, with your own eyeballs, you will come back to me saying thank you, Gaspar, for showing us this simple strategy. Anyway, even if black plays h6, by the way, you can just retreat your bishop. I know this looks dangerous, but you can save your light squared bishop by playing queen d2, and on the next move you're going to, retreat it to e2 and castle shot. They can just take. But hey, there's a mate in 2 once again, because there's nothing that black can do. That's a sneaky way of playing the game of chess. Anyway, last variation, e4, c5, bishop c4, e6, queen e2, stopping pawn to d5, then knight c6, knight to f3, stopping knight d4, s6, and pawn to f4, stopping b5, instead of knight to f6 or knight g7, which we just finished looking at. The other move you're going to see them playing is pawn to d6, trying to keep it solid. Knight c3 is not much of a stretch, but whenever I see this Scheveningen kind of structure, d6, e6, I try to switch a little bit to the Alpine strategies of, taking up the whole center, because I know black doesn't want it. So I play pawn to c3. This is the best way of approaching the Scheveningen structure. Knight to f6 may be played. Now you go bishop a2 because d5 may come. By the way, black plays d6 to stop pawn to e5, and that's why you need to play bishop a2. If they go d5, in this Sicilian you don't take pawns. Let black be first to take. You don't want to do this, even though that's playable. Just go d3, because if they take you, you're going to take back with your pawn and your pawns will be fixed. Bishop e7 may be played. You go bishop g5. So this is a rare case where things may change a little bit. Castle short, you go knight bd2, b5, you simply castle short. If this, you have this, there's just no way black is going to defend his f4 pawn. You can do this and capture that pawn. By the way, black can't even take on b2 because that will hang the knight on c6. Yeah, they can do that, but they'll be down an exchange. So the whole thing here is that when black chooses to be very solid, don't react. Just continue building your position very slowly. Because of the nature of the Bowdler attack, you won't have many weaknesses. Anyway, I hope you guys learned 1 or 2 things in our new Bowdler attack strategy, and I can't wait to read your comments to know what you think about this strategy against the Sicilian defense. Let me know if it is something that you can try in your real OTB tournament games. And anyway, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and also check out my courses at www.casperchess.com if you want to take your chess seriously beyond gambits and traps. The link is in the comment section down below, and all my courses are still on promotion to ensure that every person can afford to get one. Thank you so much. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.